Hello, everybody. All right, so welcome to the Mikestand. We, of course, are going to be just giving. Well, we do have some more people in here already. So, as always, if you guys can like and share the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people in here, that'd be appreciated. Also, if anything we talk about tonight grabs your attention, feel free to comment and/or ask questions. We'll try to get to the questions to the best of our ability, or to the best of my ability. And with that, let's see. I guess we'll wait to see people show up. We got a couple people in here at least. So, anyways, I hope it's Tuesday, so hopefully everybody's having a good week thus far. Um, we had some interesting stories we went over last night. On Moon Mesa, where the cowboys roam, everyone wanna go by the code of the West. On Moon Mesa, everyone may know, everyone want to know by the code of the West. All right. Well, anyways, we got a couple people in here, so I think I'm going to go ahead and talk about what's on tap for tonight. We'll probably get right into what we're going to talk about. So I'm going to go over a couple articles from Bleeding Fool, a couple of comic articles. We're going to talk a little bit about UK's most popular and successful comics, as well as looking back at a historic comic that becomes more relevant in the light of the war in Gaza. So those are the two articles we're gonna, of course. Then later on, we'll hit the wrestling wrap up a bit, hit up on some, of course, some WE, and go over kind of some of stuff that went down on Raw last night, as well as talk a little bit, looking forward to tomorrow's Dynamite. Also in preparation for this Saturday's Full Gear pay-per-view from AEW. And of course, we'll also have this day in each history to wrap things up. So, with all that being said, I think I'm going to go ahead and get started now. Get right into the articles here. Where do you go with that? All right. So anyways. All right. So here we go. Oh, and we do have a third person coming in. Okay. So let's get into these articles. And first off, look at this one here. UK's most popular and successful comics. Article by Ali Rizvi, published earlier today. Let's take a look at this. Welcome to the latest article from your favorite site covering comic-related news and blogs, geek culture, and video games. As regular readers already know, this page covers the stories you won't find anywhere else, pulling back the curtain and showing the comic book industry in a new light. If you love discovering new comics and remembering old classics, this article is right up your alley, or right up your streets, as we list some hidden gems and titles that left a lasting impression on our team. Let's see. As always, and just another friendly reminder, of course, if you can like and share the things here, we can get some more friendly people in here to engage. That'd be a yeah. Also, if anything here we talk about grabs your attention, feel free to comment and/or ask questions. I'll try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. With all that being said, let's continue on with the article here. Let us ask you a question. What's your favorite comic book of all time? With so many contenders to the crown, it's a tough one to answer. Is it one that is it one of the big names like One Piece, Asterix, or Peanuts that sold millions of copies and generated millions of dollars in profits for creators? Perhaps you're a comic book fan who likes to veer from the beaten path, digging through old boxes and charity shops, uh, shops and stands at Comic Con to find an unloved and unappreciated story of bravery and overcoming the odds. Hmm. To the purist among us, nothing beats discovering a new comic and learning of a fresh adventure. Lovers of superheroes know there's potential value finding a rare or forgotten classic hidden in a dusty old box. Sports fans take a break from making predictions on the NFL at betting sites in Florida to remember the comic that first sparked their interest in professional sports. Comedy lovers like to dig out a popular book and relive their youth, enjoying some easy reading. Classics like Peanuts and Asterix are less available today than they once were, but you'll often find snippets of their adventures printed in the Sunday papers or online. For many adults who have lost their way with comics over the years, those small sketches provide a gateway to their youth, bringing back happy memories. Hmm. All right. Oh, I lost a viewer, but hopefully we can get some more back. Let's doing some little shop around here. See if we can stir up some more viewers. All right, so anyways, hey JR, hail Xenu and Xena are our only true saviors. All right. So getting back to the articles here, now that I've got the message out a little bit more there. Let's get to it here. Back to it. UK offers a lot. Here's another question for you to ponder. When reading this article, and it could be as tricky to answer as the previous one, what's your favorite comic book that was written and produced in the United Kingdom? In the age of Marvel and DC superheroes, many younger fans may not know the United Kingdom has a rich comic book history. Some of the best loved stories and characters have emerged from England, meaning choosing a favorite is more challenging than it might seem. Especially if you're outside of the United Kingdom, like let's say in North America here, like the United States or Canada, or in another part of the world altogether. Let's see. If you need help deciding on your favorite comic from Great Britain, this article aims to help. If you know little about UK comics, and think there's not a lot to get excited about on the island, we're delighted to bring you up to speed. By the end of this page, you'll know the best selling comics from the UK and why they have been popular for generations. Our goal is to shine a spotlight on a sometimes underappreciated English comic market and introduce our readers to classics that we're sure you'll love as much as we did when researching this article. Let's not waste another second and dive into the world of the UK's most popular and successful comics. The Beano. The Beano. Sounds like a very apropos name for a comic. The Beano. Well, of course, we know of Beanie and Cecil. Uh, the Beano. Among the longest running and most beloved British comics, and quote here, the Beano holds a special place in the hearts of generations. First published in 1938, so basically the same year that Superman came out, it introduced characters like Dennis the Menace, Minnie the Minx, and the Bash Street Kid. Wow, Dennis the Menace was originally a British character? That's very interesting. Unless it's a different Dennis the Menace altogether. But known for its irreverent humor and mischievous characters, that does sound like Dennis the Menace. Quote unquote, the Beano has consistently been a top seller, providing a dose of laughter for both young and old readers. Dennis was the Beano's most popular and successful character, with the lovable Scamp's adventures making it onto television and movies. So I'm guessing then it is the same character that we know of. Dennis the Menace. Dennis the Menace. Do 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 do. Of course, we know of course, not just the comic strips of Dennis the Menace, but also the live action television series starring Jay North in the 50s, I believe, in the 50s or early 60s, and then of course the Deke produced cartoon in the late 80s. Um, please find a copy of the Beano or visit the website to catch up on the adventures of young Dennis and his faithful dog Gnasher. Okay, he was named Ruff in the cartoon, but you'll be glad that you did. The Dandy. Much like the Beano, the Dandy is a classic character in the world of British comics. Launched in 1937, it became home to characters like Desperate Dan and Corky the Cat. Over the years, the Dandy underwent various transformations to stay relevant, and through it ceased its print publication in 2012. Its impact on the UK comic scene remains significant. Visit the Scottish city of Dundee, known as the City of Discovery, and you'll find a Desperate Dan statue standing proudly on the high street. Wow, some interesting stuff here. Desperate Dan was the Dandy's best loved character and was for many years the face of the comic. The characters have all but retired today, but they're no less popular among comic book lovers in the UK, with fans flocking to take a selfie with the Desperate Dan statue. Hmm. The English nation, whose comics I know almost anything about, is Australia and New Zealand. Almost anything or nothing. um, they're I gotta check something here. Mike, I tried watching. Well, um, yeah, I try to get to the, you know. Anyways, anyways, yeah, as we okay, nothing spell checker error. ah, yeah, that's why I caught it there. Anyways, so moving along here, 2000 AD, stepping into the realm of science fiction and dystopian futures, quote unquote. 2000 AD has been a staple of British comics since its debut in 1977. The anthology format allowed for the introduction of iconic characters like Judge Dredd, Storium Dog, and Rogue Trooper. With its mature themes and cutting edge storytelling, quote unquote, 2000 AD has garnered a dedicated fan base and paved the way for a more adult oriented approach to comics in the UK. Viz Media, if irreverence and adult humor, or I'm sorry, Viz, not to be confused with Viz Media, Viz here. If irreverent and adult humor are what you're after, Viz is the go-to British comic. Debuting in 1979, Viz is known for its satirical take on various aspects of British culture. Again, I don't think this is, of course, to be confused with Viz Media. The characters, including Johnny Fart Pants, okay, Johnny Fart Pants. That sounds like a very interesting character. Ah, and Sid the Sexist have become cultural phenomena with a mix of toilet humor and sharp social commentary. Of course, toilet humor is always an attractive thing for a comic, right? Who doesn't like a poop joke here and there? Um, Viz has carved a unique niche in the UK comic landscape. What's up? Nothing much. Anyways, as we continue on here, let's check one more thing here and then get back to it. Hmm. All right, that's funny. All right. So, anyways, getting back to the article here. Commando. For fans of war comics, Commando has been a consistent performer since its launch in 1961. Um, what sets it apart is its dedication to telling self-contained war stories in a compact format. Now, mind you, just to let you guys know, he had a little comics history because from just my own private studies of DC comic. War comics were popular throughout the 40s, 50s, and 60s. They were particularly popular in the 40s. Looking back on as you'd have, of course, and we'll be getting into those pretty soon here in the local comic retrospect on Fridays, in which the World War II stories, but also in the 60s, you had a number of comics that would look back on World War II as well, and the Korean War as well. So let's see. The series has covered a wide range of conflicts and historical periods, creating a diverse and engaging reading experience for those interested in military there. Yeah, they've been now Commando may be one of Britain's better war anthologies. We here in the States we had a number of great war anthologies ran throughout the Golden Age into the early Silver Age era. So anyways, moving along here. Warrior. Although short-lived, Warrior had a lasting impact on the comic book landscape. Launched in 1982, it introduced the world to characters like V for Vendetta and Marvel Man, later rebranded as Miracle Man. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've heard a lot about that. These characters, especially Alan Moore's V, went on to become iconic and influenced the trajectory of comics, not just in the UK, but globally. So there we go with that one. So at least there's a few ideas for you guys might want to go check out on your own for some more comment for some more comics, more the idea of British comics there. Commando seems to have very limited themes. Most stories are about discipline and friendship in units over and over. Well, that's military. That's kind of military across the board, though. I mean, yeah, the friendship part. The guys in the outfits, because if obviously when we get to some of the like war comics of the Golden Age, like All American Men of War, Star Spangled War Stories, GI Combat. When we get to some of those, you'll see that that's kind of the point. Anyways, getting ready to move on to the next comic here. A historical comic becomes more relevant in light of war in Gaza. Article by Avi Green, published November 14, 2023. All right, so here we go. Arnon Shore, a screenwriter and author originally from Haifa, wrote a column for Jewish Boston telling about a graphic novel he developed about Israel's war for independence in 1948, discussing how the armies of the Arab Legion attacked the country, and points out that in the aftermath of the horrific jihad bloodbath and the Hamas committed on October 7th, it's even more relevant a subject than ever. The title of the first graphic novel he's publishing is Brother's Keeper. That's Avi speaking. So now we're going to get into some of the excerpts from, I guess, the article that Avi is referring to here. And of course, as always, guys, if you can remember to, if you haven't already, if you can like and share the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people in here to be engaged. That'd be appreciated. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and/or ask questions, and we'll try to answer and I'll try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. So with that, let's continue on with the article here. This is from the article that Avi is referring to here. So it sat on a hard drive for several years until this summer, when an opportunity arose to collaborate once more with Joshua M. Edelglass, the illustrator of Jose and the Pirate Captain Toledano, quote unquote. I shared several story ideas with Josh, who immediately gravitated toward Brother's Keeper. We decided we'd work together to reimagine the story as a single issue or one-off comic book. The goal was to have something ready to debut in mid-November at the Jewish Comics Experience, a new and exciting convention of Jewish comics at the center of Jewish history in New York. So in August, with only a few months to get the job done, I began to write. I went back to old interviews that my uncle Yoff had recorded. My grandfather's accounts of the battle and its aftermath are riveting and revealed surprising details that I had forgotten over the years. I also found this very detailed description of the battle. I drew from every account that I could find to create a composite representation of this small piece of the old war. Ramat Rachel is a small kibbutz on a strategically significant hilltop just south of Jerusalem. In 1948, its residents found themselves surrounded on three sides by three very powerful Arab armies. The Egyptian army approached from the west, the Arab Legion came up from the south, the Jordanian army along with local Arab fighters applied pressure from the east. They all wanted to drive the Jews out so they could attack Jerusalem from this high ground. My grandfather was sent to help defend the kibbutz, and when that appeared impossible, he oversaw the evacuation and retreat. When I wrote these scenes, they were fascinating pieces of history. It was hard to imagine an army attacking a kibbutz with bullets and artillery shattering the bucolic quiet. And then I was confronted by the grim horrors of October 7th, 2023. What I wrote as history had suddenly became current events. A terrorist army rampaging through Israel, attacking kibbutzim along the Gaza border, residents once again forced to flee. The book was already written and Josh was working hard on the illustrations. For him, the experience was even more surreal. He was drawing an attack on kibbutz while watching one unfold on the news. that's got to be something. Talk about having a live action model. Oh boy, talk about having a live action model there. Let's see. The Arab Legion are a Jordanian division, not really an army. They must have been a pretty significant division then for them to actually get their own talking point there. The book was all okay. Yeah, we read that part. Initially, all of this seemed like a horrible coincidence. Brothers Keeper is supposed to be historical. It's supposed to reflect on something that happened a long ago. Never in my darkest nightmares did I imagine that it would become contemporary again. And yet, here we are. We continued our work on the book with the Jewish Comics Convention about a month away, and we had some hard print deadlines to meet. But I felt as though the book we were working on had fundamentally changed. I wasn't sure exactly how, but it seemed suddenly more significant. A friend who stopped by for coffee one morning was able to articulate what I couldn't. When he saw a few of the illustrations, he declared, quote unquote, "We need this now." He went on to explain, most of us weren't born the last time a kibbutz was attacked. Many of our parents weren't born yet either. Part of the pain of the October 7th attacks was that we had never experienced anything like it before. Then my friend pointed at the illustrations I had shown him. He said, quote, "But we have been through this before. We've survived this before," unquote. The moment he pointed that out, I realized that my grandfather's story was no longer, quote unquote, just a story from a war. It suddenly had meaning. It wasn't the meaning I intended. It certainly couldn't have been my grandfather's meaning. How could we have imagined we'd need such a reminder again? And yet, there it is. My grandfather, surviving an attack on a kibbutz in 1948, reminds us of what we can overcome in 2023. Josh and I had no plans for an immediate wide release of this comic book. We expected to print a bunch of copies, sell at the convention, and then figure out a release plan from there. But now, the story carries a new urgent purpose. We are working very hard to make the book available as broadly as possible when it debuts in New York on November 12th, 2023. So, I guess the article that this is from probably came out before this article, so that's why, because November 12th was this past Sunday. Let's see. And then we're back to Avi here. We're back to Avi commenting here. The guy's doing the right thing to raise the issue at a time when a horrifying incident struck Israel anew. Surely most important, however, is that the publishers and the conventions had better make absolutely certain they stand by his production rock solid, and not cower in the face of any threats that could be made against them by anti-Semitic sources. The same could be said regarding comics and graphic novels discussing September 11, 2001, or 9/11. I'm very glad Mr. Shore made the effort to develop a graphic novel like this. There's been far too much censorship of subjects involving Islamofascism ever since 9/11, and that includes subjects involving Israel. The time's come for more of all concerned to prove they have the guts to produce comics tackling these vital issues. Focus upon them convincingly. For now, let's hope the aforementioned convention along with the publishers, are going to stand by Mr. Shore from A to Z. Amen to that. That's what I'd say. Amen to that. Alrighty then. So with that being said, I think it's a good time to move on to the wrestling wrap-up. Look over some things from from last night's Raw, and look ahead to tomorrow's AEW. And AEW looks forward to AEW looks forward to its Full Gear pay-per-view coming up this weekend. All right, so last night's Raw, of course, had a number of things going on. Let's see. The opening match of the evening saw Dominic Mysterio team with new Judgment Day member JD McDonough take on Sami Zayn and Seth Rollins, and end up in a no contest when, after weeks of teasing it, they finally turned Drew McIntyre heel. They turned him heel to join up with form an alliance with the Judgment Day. Especially after having Jey Uso come back and to Raw. Shinsuke Nakamura defeated Otis of Alpha Academy. Tegan Knox defeated Piper Niven in a match that could potentially set up a potential tag team title match later on for Tegan Knox and Natalya, as Natalya was in Tegan Knox's corner. Chelsea Green, who is Piper Niven's partner as women's tag team champions. Ludwig Kaiser defeated Tommaso Ciampa. Ludwig Kaiser had Giovanni Vinci in his corner. Tommaso Ciampa had Johnny Gargano in his corner. As had basically members of the Imperium taking on members of DIY. Xia Li defeated Indy Hartwell by referee's decision. The Miz defeated Ivar with the supposed help of Bronson Reed, who came in and attacked Ivar. I don't know if it was after the match. And then in the main event for the WWE Raw Tag Team title, the Unified Tag Team title, the Judgment Day members of Finn Balor and Priest defeated Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso. And then I think McIntyre may have interfered in that match as well, which led to a potential spoiler after Raw went off the air. So it was recorded that in a promo after the show went off the air, Cody Rhodes dropped hints that they have friends too. There's been some teases that possibly CM Punk might be coming back to WWE. Randy Orton should be returning soon. So at least one of those guys is said to be returning at Survivor Series. I think it's more likely Orton. No matter how many hints have been dropped in the earlier Shinsuke Nakamura match, he dropped kind of a cryptic hint that, or he was, I guess, calling out. He was calling out CM Punk. But Survivor Series, which is of course a week from this Saturday, I believe, on the 25th there. Things are still stirring to set up for that. Anyways, we have a question here from, let's see, Cowslip Warren. What's your favorite Hogan's Heroes? All right, well, I don't have a favorite Hogan's Heroes because I've never watched it. So I don't know how many times that's like the third day in a row I've had to answer that question. I get it. You like you like Hogan's Heroes. Okay, doesn't mean everybody does. Anyways, with that, okay, and we do have some other news too. So as I said, AEW has Full Gear pay-per-view coming up this Saturday, and of course, in the lead up to that, I will look this up real quick. In the lead up to that, coming up tomorrow night's Dynamite. In the lead up to Full Gear on tomorrow night's Dynamite. Tomorrow's Dynamite, AEW Dynamite, coming from the Toyota Arena in Ontario, California. The two matches that have signed thus far: Hook and Orange Cassidy take on the Blackpool Combat Club members of Jon Moxley and Wheeler Yuta, as this might come off as a part of a prelude to the match between Cassidy and Moxley, as Orange Cassidy will be defending the AEW International title against Jon Moxley at Full Gear on Saturday. And in another big matchup, in a Like a Dragon Gaiden, the man who erased his name, street fight. It's an 8-man tag match in which you have on one side you have Kota Ibushi, Paul White. Some of you remember Paul White as the Big Show. And attacking the Golden Jets of Chris Jericho and Kenny Omega, taking on Brian Cage of the Mogul Embassy, and three members of the Don Callis family of Konosuke Takeshita, Kyle Fletcher, and Powerhouse Hobbs, with Dan Callis, Don Callis, their corner. Of course, for the Golden Jets, this could be a big match as they head into Full Gear. At Full Gear, the Golden Jets will be taking on the Young Bucks, Matt and Nick Jackson. If they should win, then they get the title shot, the shot at the AEW World Tag Titles that the Young Bucks had earned at the last AEW Gauntlet for the Gold. If the Young Bucks win, then the Golden Jets can never again wrestle as a team. So this could be a little bit tricky going into that match, because this match, which was set up a couple weeks ago, is going to be a very, very nasty one. I don't know all the I can talk more about the stipulation once I hear a little bit more about stipulations for this match tomorrow, when I watch the Control Center. So with that, we will now get ready to move on to, with today being Tuesday, November 14th, 2023. We're going to take a look back at this day in Niche history. History! Let me just see here now. 1963, and 1973. Okay. All right. So here we go with all that. So first off, I'm going to head back 60 years ago today. And on this date, 60 years ago, back in 1963, Killer Kowalski and Gorilla Monsoon defeated Brute Bernard and Skull Murphy to become the WWF United States Tag Team Champions in Washington, D.C. So Killer Kowalski, on this date 60 years ago today, Killer Kowalski and Gorilla Monsoon defeated Brute Bernard and Skull Murphy to become the WWF United States Tag Team Champions. Now, of course, the WWF is a precursor to, of course, the WWE. So there you go with that. Getting ready to move on to the next piece of niche history. And actually, in this case, we're actually going to wish 3 people a happy birthday today. As we'd like to wish a happy 50th birthday to actor comedian Dana Snyder, who's provided his voice to a number of characters on Adult Swim, including Master Shake and Aqua Teen Hunger Force, The Alchemist in The Venture Brothers, and Granny Kyler in Squidbillies. Also served as the voice of Plastic Man and Penguin in Justice League Action. Also would like to wish a happy 50th birthday to Judah Miller, an American filmmaker, television producer, writer, and voice actor, known for his work on such shows as Clone High, King of the Hill, and American Dad. And also would like to wish a happy 50th birthday to Mikey Kelly, who is the voice of Silver Surfer on the Superhero Squad show. Let's see. Also, and I know he's also the voice of Commandy in Batman the Brave and the Bold as well. So happy 50th birthday to Dana Snyder, Judah Miller, and Mikey Kelly. And finally, on this date 5 years ago today, the 25th issue of Beauty from Image Comics went on sale on this date 5 years ago today. It sold for $3.99, was 28 pages. On this date 5 years ago today, the 25th issue of Beauty from Image Comics went on sale on this date. So with that, I thank everybody for being here. I hope you all enjoyed the show. Hope to see everybody back here tomorrow for more niche news. As I said, we'll be, of course, look at what's going to be going down on Impact tomorrow night. They head into this weekend's Full Gear pay-per-view. Also, and don't forget, of course, on Friday, Rick Piper will be joining me as we'll be looking back at comics that went on sale. We're finishing up November of 1939, our coverage there, with focusing in on comics that went out on sale from Standard Comics, at the time known as Better Books. We'll be looking at Thrilling Comics Volume 1, Issue 1. So with that, I thank everybody for being here, and I hope to see everybody back here tomorrow. Bye.